Hello, Canada. Hello, United States of America. And greetings to every single one of you all over the planet. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Kevin J. Johnston Show that runs absolutely every single Tuesday, 9 p.m. Toronto/New York time, 7 p.m. Calgary time, and 6 p.m. on the West Coast. We want to say thank you to absolutely everybody for being here today. It's always a joy. It's always a pleasure. I love doing this every single Tuesday with all of you. And we have so many crazy things that we had to cover, but I've chosen a select few, and I want to get your commentary on this stuff. We're watching the chat rooms in all 45 social media pages that we're broadcasting on tonight. Whew, it's not easy to do this, but we have help doing this tonight. Let's talk about Rolls-Royce, if we could, for a second, please. 1904, Rolls-Royce shows up and they make amazing 12-cylinder engines. The engines that they built were so good that they were then commissioned to build engines for military aircraft. Yes, that is true. Military aircraft. They made a ton of money building for the war effort. Rolls-Royce. What do you think of when you hear the name Rolls-Royce? You think of, I don't know, $500,000, $5 million, $60 million cars. I have no clue what they cost because I know that I wouldn't buy one if I could afford one. But Rolls-Royce has come out and they have told all of us that they wish to go broke. That is correct. You know how you always say, get woke, go broke? Rolls-Royce has made it very clear that they wish to discontinue the manufacture of all gasoline and all diesel-powered cars and trucks. Yes, to meet carbon targets that have been brought forward by idiots all over the planet. I'm just trying to wrap my head around the idea of anybody who's in the key brass of Rolls-Royce would be part of the elites, as we call them. They would be multimillionaires, if not billionaires. So how is it that these billionaires expect to continue being billionaires when they're going to be manufacturing cars that nobody wants or the power grid can't handle when you're charging them? Think about how many Teslas there are just in Alberta here alone. Never mind all the warm temperatures out there. The power grids worldwide cannot handle charging that many cars. So what are we going to do? Well, Rolls-Royce said, we've got a big announcement coming. It's really exciting. You're going to be so blown away by what we've got to say. The only thing that would blow me away would be if Rolls-Royce was to come out and say that they're going to have hydrogen fuel cell engines in their cars, where you power the car with hydrogen and the only exhaust is water. Okay. That would be cool, but I don't think that's what they're going to announce. I think that they're going to announce, they're going to try to meet their targets. They won't probably shut everything down by 2030, but they did say the alternate time would be 2035. And the surprise is probably just going to be a glorified and more expensive Tesla. Now, Teslas are cool, but I would only own one if I knew that I never had to drive longer than 50 kilometers from home. They're not worth the price. If you want to know the real truth on that, they're really not. But they are interesting from the standpoint of when you put your foot on the floor, that thing is gone. It's gone. I don't know if anyone has ridden roller coasters like Dragster or King de Caw, where they launch you at 140 miles an hour in a straight line. Like you go from 0 to 140 in about 7 seconds. You leave your stomach behind and it launches you up a 400-foot tall hill. That is what Teslas feel like when you hit the gas and they take off. The amount of torque they have is incredible. But you can have that much fun for $110,000, right? Like that's the low price of $110,000. Lord knows what Rolls-Royce is going to do. And I don't think for an instant it's going to pan out for them. I think what they'll do is they'll try for a couple of years, lose billions, and then go right back to manufacturing gasoline and diesel-powered cars. Thank you to everybody who pointed out that I was on Rebel News. Yeah, I was on Rebel News on, Wednesday I was there. Was it? Yes, last week, Wednesday. The Million March, I went downtown Calgary. It's my first public appearance in a very long time. And as I was down there, I had an opportunity to speak to a lot of people. So thank you to everyone that said hello downtown Calgary. And there's a gentleman being interviewed, and this is what happened. Look at that. Who's the good-looking guy in the bottom right corner? My God, he's so cute. Look at him. Woo. All right. Did I do that deliberately? Yeah, man, I did. Of course I did that deliberately. And do you know why? Because Rebel News, Ezra Levant, the guy, I think honestly he's got cancer or something right now. He's not healthy, but Ezra Levant has instructed all of his staff to stay away from me. They're not allowed to interview me. They're not allowed to put me on camera. They're not allowed to deal with me on a personal scale. And it's been this way since 2018. Did you know that? Did you want to know why Ezra Levant didn't cover me running for mayor of Mississauga? You figure Rebel News would have said, hey, this guy here placed second in the fifth biggest city in the country. You figure that he would. And you figure that he might have endorsed somebody like, I don't know, me for mayor of Calgary, because I was the only one who agreed with him that there was no pandemic and that masks were pointless. I wrote a book called Masks Are Bullshit, for God's sakes. Well, no. Ezra Levant supported the far left, kind of sort of pro-pedophilia guy, Jeremy Farkas, that idiot, that far left moron. Yeah, that's what he did. So when I saw Rebel News talking, I had to say hello. So that, Ezra, if you're watching, that's me just saying hello to you very, very politely. All right. And yes, Ezra, I know that you don't like me because I am the better public speaker. And quite frankly, I don't care. I don't watch Rebel anymore at all, unless David Menzies is doing something. And I wanted to also point out, everyone, if you go to Rebel News, I'm not going to play the video because Ezra Levant will apply for a copyright strike on all my social media. He's done that before when I've shown his material for even seconds. But 6 years ago, 2017, David Menzies called me up and asked me if I could be assistant cameraman and help him push himself into a cat show. All right. So in Toronto, there was a pet show. They had exotic cats and dogs. What was the joke? Well, transspeciesism. David Menzies got dressed up in a unitard, a leopard print unitard, and put on a rubber cat mask. And I got him into a cage. And then I would push him to the cat show where he would say like, meow, meow. Yeah, it was the funniest thing that he's ever done and that I've ever done with another journalist. It was incredible. And it was undeniably unbelievable how angry the coordinators and the producers of this cat show were when a trans species cat was in a cage cracking jokes and just having a good time. They were yelling, oh yeah, you're a cat, are you? BS, or screaming at him. Well, if you watch the report, you're going to hear my voice in there. And every single time I appear on his camera angles, he blurs me out. So that you go watch it because it is very funny stuff. And I'm not mocking David Menzies. I like the guy very much. I did a radio show with him for 6 straight months. Ezra, of course, wouldn't let him do the radio show anymore. But that's Ezra Levant from Rebel News. So if you wonder why the only 2 times I've ever been on Rebel News were back in 2017 is because Ezra Levant did not like the fact that I showed him up on his own show. No, too bad, Ezra. And wink, wink, that one is for you. Woo. I wanted to say thank you today. This morning was awesome. I had a great day today, everybody. I did. I really had a good day. This morning, I got a phone call from the location where my mailbox is. And the woman, grumpy and grouchy, is this Kevin J. Johnston? Why, yes, it is. When I hear voices like that, I have to stay cheery because you know what's on the other end. You know it's a hardcore, hard drinking, hard smoking, fast eating individual who has nobody in their lives and they're cranky. And do you know why this person was cranky? Because they had to sign for not 1, not 2, but 3 cakes. Yes. Thank you to everybody who sent me cake today for my 52nd birthday. I really appreciate that. I had a slice. I'm not going to lie. I did have a slice, but it's too much cake. So I shared it with 2 of the people that were in line behind me. And I also decided to share it with some of the homeless crew in the area. I said, guys, like, do me a favor. Give me 10 minutes of your time, celebrate my birthday with me. And I gave everybody cake. So thank you for the cake. I greatly appreciate that. It was lovely of you. Made me feel absolutely awesome. It truly did. Thank you, Twyla. Absolutely appreciate that. Thank you, Liz. Appreciate that too. Yeah, that's correct, Hesham. It was David Menzies. We ran a show called Rebel Yell before Ezra told him he could not work with me. That's absolutely correct. Hesham's been around for a while. He's heard every word I've had to say. I think, Hesham, you've got a notebook somewhere where you transcribe everything I say, don't you? Thanks for being here, brother. Always good to see you. Thank you, Carrie. I greatly appreciate that. Oh, and hey, and the happy birthdays are flying in the Rumble room. All right. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Rick. Appreciate that. Rebelmania 55. Thank you so much. Really do appreciate that. All right. Now, I gave myself a birthday present today. All right. I did. So thank you for the cake, but I gave myself something today, and I would like to share my birthday present with you now, if I could. It has been, I've told you the stories of my life. So you know that after my teens were done, I was DJing for almost 4 years. And as a result of that, there was sugar-filled drinks everywhere. There was bar food being served to me until like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and so on. So I got fat at age 21. I decided to go to the gym, and then I got into boxing and Aikido, and I got pretty damn cut pretty damn fast. It was amazing. But while I was doing all that working out in my early 20s, there were some weightlifting milestones that I did not meet. Some of the weightlifting milestones that make a man really feel like a man are the following: bench pressing your own body weight. That's the big one right there. Arm curling half your body weight. That's another big one. But the other one would be bench pressing. There's the magic numbers are your body weight, 250, 300, and then it goes in increments of 50 at that point. All right. I'm almost at 300 on the bench press, but there is a club out there, and the term club first was associated with the deadlift. So the deadlift itself, if you are capable of lifting 400 pounds or more 3 times in a row, you have now entered the 400 club. Now, there's no cash prize. All right. And for your ladies out there who don't understand men, this is just an egocentricity thing. That's all that it is. It's like, I'm in the club. That's what it boils down to. So I would like to share with you, everybody, me working out with my trainer today. I made an attempt today to enter the 400 club, and here it is.
Ready to rock. Big breath.
All right, we're going. This is the 400 club. Been trying, I'm dying to do this one for a while, everybody. Here we go.
Nice. Solid.
Fuck yeah!
Big breath.
Sorry for swearing.
Nice. We're getting one more. You got it. Here we go. Solid.
Everybody, I made it. After all these years of trying to get into the 400 club, I am now there. And my trainer, he was messing with my head, this guy, all right? I didn't know what he was up to, and I was just so eager to get started that I didn't count the plates on the bar. That wasn't 400 pounds. That was 425. So I figure that if I really buckle down in the next 4 weeks, I can enter the 500 club in at the end of October. And that is my goal. So anybody in Calgary who wants to be my workout partner, let me know, because I'm taking this very seriously. You can never have too much strength. There's no such thing as being too strong. And thank you, Teresa. I certainly do appreciate that. All right. There we go. Not sure how long you've been watching. Yeah, you've been around from Hesham. I know you've been around since the beginning, man. Of course I know that. Yeah, Brian. Yes, okay, I get that. Roll your shoulders. It hurts. Okay, 425 hurt. It hurt a little bit too much for me to be rolling things exactly as you're supposed to look good in competition. All right. Yeah, and Twyla, I didn't think I'd get the third rep either. That third rep, it sucked. I'm not going to lie to you. It sucked because my quad muscles were already beginning to shake halfway through the second lift. That third one, but that was at the beginning of the workout. I still had 50 minutes to go after that. I was unable to walk out of the place without looking like I had 5 jars of pickles up my ass. It was horrendous. Yeah, there we go. Marianne, no, you know what? My knees are not going to crap out. When you lift properly, the deadlift itself does not affect your knees until you get to such extreme weights that you're beyond what you should be doing. And yes, I mean, I've had 2 surgeries on my right knee. I've got a new ACL that was manufactured for me there. But no, there was no strain on my knees at all. It really was in the quads and the lower back. All right. Let me just have a quick look at the Rumble room here. Yes. All right. Thank you, everybody. Look at all these birthday wishes, man. This is wonderful. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. I do absolutely appreciate all of it. All righty. So I've yammered on long enough. Got a special guest here tonight. Somebody that I was speaking to a few times about how it is that Canadians can rescue what they have left. And should Canadians decide that they no longer want to live in a communist country that is bent on stealing everything from them, that you do have options. Many of you have been asking me to do some research for you. Where do I go, you ask, if I'm going to leave Canada? Well, Mark's got a pretty good idea. Mark, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you. It's a pleasure, man. I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself, brother? And happy birthday.
Thank you, brother. Well, as you can tell, look, Mark, yeah, we're guys, so we'll just do some guy talk here. With all this lifting, all this powerlifting I've been doing, my testosterone is off the charts. Now, I'm going to tell you, there's a couple of things that affects, Mark. Yep. Number one is my concentration. I'm concentrating on things better than I ever have in the last year. So I'm focused, right? Yeah. But the testosterone running through my veins it's playing with my head. All right. It's telling me procreate. Of course it is. Of course it is. Let me tell you this. In Alberta, the women here are prettier by default than Ontario. Sorry, ladies in Ontario. I just mean on the average. I don't mean all. Okay. Yeah. But the women out here take care of themselves better because there's so much outdoor activity to do. All right. So with the testosterone just thumping through my body, I'm looking at 85-year-old women. I'm going, yeah, man, I got to have that. It's just there.
Now, just picture that and picture Costa Rica 100 times more.
Okay. Well, Costa Rica. So let's talk about my testosterone problem or my excessive testosterone problem and what you do for a living. You're up. Go ahead.
What I do for a living is I used to be a former builder back in Ontario. My wife is a realtor of 23 plus years. Her family's been in it for like 40 years. So what we do down here is we came down here to retire. I didn't want to retire. I've been working here for the last 5 years building houses, but I decided to get into the real estate game here with the help of my wife. So I am with also Tropical Properties. So I got into the game here, and the reason why I got into the game here is to help people find their way in Costa Rica. There are a lot of places that aren't the best places for expats, or the quality house isn't what we're used to as Canadians. So I help in that manner. I do have rental properties of my own. So whatever I make off of real estate for us is just to have fun with. So I really shop like I'm shopping for myself. Now, if people mention Kevin and you reach out to me through my Instagram, WhatsApp, one of my blogs, my posts, I help relocate for free. Relocation companies down here, Kev, they charge $150, $200 an hour just to start giving you the information that I will hand absolutely free. and I will hold your hand through the whole process. Anybody and everybody. I have done hundreds of thousands of messages to people and have helped people all over the world, not just Canada, from the US. I even help Americans that want to surrender their residency in the US and become a resident of Costa Rica, stop paying taxes in the US. I've got forms and contacts to help them with that. So the contacts that I've built over the last 5 years, relocation companies haven't even built in 10, 15, 20 years. And I'm handing it all out for free to help people out. So whatever I could do, man. We were born and raised in Ontario. You know, I lived in Mono on the outskirts of Toronto. You know, the whole typical thing, you know, builder, wife is really successful in real estate. We're on the verge of retiring. And then all this stuff came down to like a shamble when everything started to happen. But the nice thing is when people are lost and they don't know where to go, and on the internet, everything is so conflicting. You know, you hear one story, then you look up something else, and it contradicts what you just found out. So I'm here to help out and to give you down that straight and narrow path, right? And bring you along with the right people.
Well, I tell you, Mark, the number of people that are asking me to do research for them is absolutely unbelievable. And nothing would thrill me more than having the funds, which I used to have until the government took everything I own, to jump on a plane and go to all these countries and meet people like yourself, and then report back to everybody which countries to go to. But they've taken everything from me. They've stuck me. Well, not stuck me. I applied for welfare because you know guys got to eat. That's how bad it's become. So I cannot go to other countries right now and tell people what's happening, which is why I'm very happy to speak to yourself and other folks like yourself who helps people escape this communist Marxist dump and get somewhere where they can make a living. And Mark, I did a live today on, I live last night on TikTok. There's a number of university students were asking me my opinion on, did I think that they would ever be able to buy a house and a car and have a family and all that and pay for it? And I said, yes, but in countries like Chile, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Panama, you're not going to be able to do it here. You know, in fact, walk away from your student debt if you're on OSAP, stick the government with the bill and leave.
You know what's funny, Kev? With you talking like that, like, you know, we have houses here. You know, Uvita is like, if people are in Ontario watching this right now, it's like the Muskoka, Huntsville of Ontario. I don't know where in Alberta, like, you know, comparable to like Banff, whatever. Those areas are like in Kelowna. That's what Uvita, Dominical is comparable to. So yes, do we have houses that are priced and everything's in US dollars? You know, 150, 200,000. Yes, we do. Do we have houses priced up higher? 100%. So, you know, I've come to the terms that when I talk to people, and like I said, I've done over 100,000 messages, easy. And I've sent out the information that many times too, is when I talk to people, I ask them, and a lot of people will engage with me and tell me, once you get rid of all your debt, what are you left with? And they're like, why are you asking? Because when you get down to a country like this, you're starting over. And I want to make sure that when you're starting, that you're not going to suffer. Now, if you're in areas like where we live, the amount of Canadians this year, we're going to have like over 4 million American Canadians moving to Costa Rica alone. Last year it was 1.8, the year before that 1.6 and 1.2. On average, it's 80 to 100,000 people move here a year. So I want to make sure if you're getting down here and let's say you're working, you know, maybe you're in construction, maybe you're a hairstylist, right? A mechanic, right? That you start to network and you start to engage with other expats because expats trust expats. Now, that being said, I have companies like CLS Firestone Mechanics down here, Danny Sebastian, phenomenal. Like these guys will give the shirts off your back. Will from Jungle Tour, phenomenal. I've got Kevin, who's originally from Quebec. He's a high-end builder in Costa Rica in our area. I've got Joe from Bolton, Ontario. So there's a lot of guys here that come here and everybody, it's like they're stepping back into the 80s. So, you know, at home, they fearmonger a lot. You know, I had people that were trying to expose where I live because during COVID, we traveled. I didn't stop. I'm like, I'm not going to end my life for a flu. I'm going to continue on with what I'm doing. So we started traveling and I would get people posting up where I live, you know, what kind of cars we drove, you know, that we're the ones that are making this happen in the world, why the world's shutting down. When you get down here, it's like you're stepping to the 80s. Costa Rica is in the process now of making the vaccines illegal in Costa Rica for even the pharmacies to have them. So that's on November 23rd. They said no to the carbon footprint. They're not going to participate in that. And they can't here because you can't have an electric car driving up a mountain 10,000 feet. And then what do? Get to the top and the car dies out. One of her friends has an X5 BMW. She got an electric car because she thought, this is great. I'm going to get it. So she charges it at her house. It takes 2 hours. She drives down the mountain. The car says it has 1,200 kilometer range. She gets down to the bottom of the mountain. The car has 600 kilometers. She gets to her office, which is 2 kilometers away. Your car has 60 kilometers left to it. And then they tell you cannot drive it through water because you're basically sitting on top of batteries, like you're sitting in a microwave. So everybody down here bans the electric cars. So diesel and gas, our prices, diesel is about 95 cents to the liter. Supreme gas is like $1.10 a liter. But our gas goes a lot longer. Back at home, you fill up your tank for $200 and you get 250, 300 kilometers. You're like, what happened to the gas? And that's super. I fill my tank down here, in one of our cars, and I'll get 600-700 kilometers. And I'm still not on empty, right? But Costa Rica is very self-sufficient that way, right? But it's like literally stepping back into the 80s. And the nice thing too is when you go to a bank here, banks here aren't owned by the Rochesters, the Rockefellers. So if you go to the bank and you say, I need to pull up money, they'll ask you and say, okay, what would you like us to put on the form? Put a renovation, buying a car. They don't sit there and question you and say, well, why do you need your money? You have to give us so much notice. So in Costa Rica, the law is within 48 hours, if you're not happy with the bank of your choice, you can actually demand your money to be sitting in duffel bags. Within 48 hours, that bank has to have all your money sitting for you at the location of the branch that you can walk out with an armed guard. They can't refuse you, unlike Canada.
Okay,
right?
Mark,
Yeah.
you make an incredible point there. This is a point that I want to make. Here, yes, you are correct. The banks are asking you, what are you doing with the cash when you withdraw your cash? It's your money. It belongs to you, but what are you doing with it? That's
Exactly.
number one. But the next big thing, this got on my nerves today. I just had to swear an affidavit today. That's all that it was. I served a lawsuit on a very major corporation, and now I have to fill out the affidavit of service. In order for me to go to a law firm and swear this thing in, I have to send them 2 pieces of identification in advance so that they can look into who I am before they'll do business with me. I'm a little tired of this kind of nonsense. I'm tired of all of it. You need ID everywhere you go. Now, something I do recall about Costa Rica, I was there at the beginning of 2000. That was the year that I was there.
Yep.
That was the year 2000. It felt like the late 70s, honestly, because the way everything was structured. But the people were great. Everyone said violent crime's a problem. I'm thinking, well, no, it's not. Petty crime was. If you put your camera down, it was gone. Right. So you got to keep your stuff with you. But nobody gave us a difficult time in any way. And I mean, not one. And I recall a lot of Canadians were down there. Their attitudes, towards life, were so much better. They were free. And that was 2000. I could only imagine how happy Canadians would be now if they were there today.
Well, now it's like the 80s now, Ken. So it actually went 10 years in advance. Right. But no, it's great, man. I have so many people that move down here. We have such a big network of expats in our area that they're like, they don't want to know what's going on outside of their walls here. So, they're busy going to the beach. They're going surfing. There's pool parties, restaurant parties, bonfires on the beach. There's outdoor clubs, for the ones that feel a little younger. Right. So there's all these activities, and it's nice because, you're in the blue zone. You're in the ecosystem. 1,200 waterfalls, 35 of the most beautiful beaches in the area, right? So that's what people are geared towards. They're geared back towards, I'll go out with my wife and everybody's waving and honking their horn. And my wife's like, do you know them? No. It's just, it's the normality now. It's what we used to be like when we were young, right? People say hi for no reason. You're in the store. Buenos dias. How are you? How's your day going? They want to strike up a conversation. At home, it's put your head down. Hey, during COVID, do you have your mask on? No. Okay, what are you doing? Here, it's just like they say all the time, tranquilo, relax, right? Everything just goes by really, really slowly, which is nice, right? It's just the way to be, man. It's just everybody feels like a weight's been lifted off your chest when you get here. That's why the longevity of people living in Costa Rica live much longer. But I can walk down any street, Kev. I can pick pineapples, papayas, mangoes, limes, lemons, right? Where can you go at home and just say, you know what, for a homeless person here, if they're living on the streets here, they can still feed themselves 24/7, right? At home, I was so used to Kev. I would get myself a cow, cut it up, butcher it, put it in the freezer, have enough meat for over the winter for my wife and I. So my mentality is I get down here, I got to get a cow. So I get to the butcher. I'm like, how much for the cow? He's like, $375. I'm like, no. I want it cut up, butchered, and I want to put it in my freezer. He's like, yeah, $375. Pay close to $4,000 at home. But you don't need to do that here. There's such an abundance of food. And the prices are astronomically 1,000 times cheaper than what it is at home. Your initial setup gets expensive, depending on what type of house you want, what type of car you want. But the cost of living after down here is literally like what it was back in the 80s back at home, right? The cost is really low.
Perfect. You know, Mark, the couple of things I just want to say there is people like Costa Rica, I was there for 2 weeks. I got a chance to see a lot because, you know, we're men. We just go everywhere.
Exactly.
The one thing I did not do is I did not go to the top of Mount Arenale, which is the volcano, the extinct volcano.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. The reason I want to go, it's the only place on the planet where you can stand up and look left and see the Atlantic Ocean, look right and see the Pacific Ocean, right?
See, I didn't even know that.
Only place on the planet you can see both the Atlantic and Pacific. I know technically it's the Gulf of Mexico. It's the Atlantic Ocean.
Exactly.
Everybody.
Exactly.
For sure. Yeah, but I do recall in 2000, in the small town of Hocko on the west coast, where all the surfing bums go, lunch was $1.50 Canadian. It was chicken, it was rice, it was vegetable, it was a bread, a beverage, and we left. Oh, beans and rice.
Yeah.
And we left full every single time. By the way, Mark, we've got someone else who's no longer in Canada.
Yeah.
You may have heard about this quasi good-looking guy. He's almost as good-looking as me. Almost.
Okay.
Yes. Vladislav, all right? From Hugs Over Masks and every other group he's ever been involved with. Brother, welcome.
Cheers.
How are you?
Cheers.
Cheers.
Doing all right.
Models. I love it.
So, Vlad,
Yes.
the last time you and I spoke, you were talking about going to Mexico. I think you were in Vancouver at the time. So I see now you're tanned. You look Mexican now. You've got the Mexican mustache. I can't grow one that thick. You're drinking something that I can't read the label on. You look happy. So what happened? What'd you do?
I just did whatever I had to at the moment, and I ended up in Mexico. Basically, the plan was for me to regain the custody of my son within Canada, and his mother continued to press the envelope where she put me in a breach of my bail conditions.
Oh.
And I'm like, this is just doesn't make any sense. And so I had to basically be out of the country just in case. So, you know, at this point, I can't even come back because there's an arrest warrant for me.
Okay, so you're in Mexico right now.
So,
Did you say there is an arrest warrant for you here in Canada?
That's my understanding. Yeah. So having two other very young children, I have two daughters, 2 years old and 6 months old, and wanted to obviously continue making a difference, not just for my family the best way I can, but still for the beautiful country that I love, which is Canada. But at this point, I had to do this from outside of Canada. And obviously, I'm not the first, nor probably the last person to take action and doing that in exile, right? And it kind of happened that way. And Mexico now is my new home. for foreseen future. Sarah and the two daughters arrived a month ago, and I was here for 2 months prior. So trying my best to kind of establish the new life. And I've been saying, at least for the last 3.5 years, doing the work that I've been doing, that I'm a proud Russian Canadian. But at this point, I'm now will be a proud Russian Mexican, still with Canadian at heart.
I love it.
Yeah. And, Vlad, you make a point that a lot of Canadians are making, and that is they really do miss the old Canada where we could say what we wanted to say. We could do the job that we wanted. We could have opinions, and we didn't have to whisper those opinions in a restaurant. But now we live in a country kind of like the old Soviet Union.
It is indeed.
Opinions are heard in a
It is
restaurant,
indeed.
and
Wow.
and people don't like them. You get arrested for hate speech.
Yeah. So what people don't know, and I learned it from one of the podcasts as well, done by a different Russian guy that lives in England. I forgot his name right now, but he explained what is where politically correct came from, and politically correct actually came from Soviet Union, and what it meant is that your speech has to have like 3 different levels of openness with people. So basically, there's a specific things that you discuss in public, and there's only specific things that you discuss with your close family members, and there's some things that you just don't discuss. And that was kind of the 3 levels of being politically correct based on the circumstances and environment. And you were taught that from very early age, from a childhood, because obviously as a child can speak about something over here and at home, and the next thing you know is your parents disappear, right? And then you go to the foster home. And that was the reality of Soviet Union.
Yeah.
And I was born and raised there.
Vlad, becoming the reality here in Canada. This is happening.
It is.
Yeah. So Mexico. Let's talk very quickly here. Like Mark is talking about Costa Rica. You're talking about Mexico.
Yes.
Has it been difficult to adjust to Mexican life? Go ahead.
I mean, for me specifically was coming, and not just by myself. I had to create a space and environment for my family to arrive here, and obviously continue doing what I can, because like I said earlier, Canada is something that I'm going to continue standing for. So Mexico just was a practical choice, and I worked in an Indian restaurant here in Mexico for a month and a half as a server. Taking orders, cleaning plates, cleaning washrooms and floors and everything in between, and I done that for a month and a half. And if you would have told me, like even probably a year and a half ago, that's what I would be doing, I probably would laugh to a certain extent. But you just never know. Life opens things, and I'm all for the experiencing of that and see how I can evolve. But long story short, the best thing that I want to tell you guys, if you're still in Canada, is these clouds. These clouds are phenomenal. Like, people don't realize how much just what we exposed to, even at the level of not seeing the real clouds and not experiencing a real energy or vibration that's you can experience in Costa Rica or Mexico. Just you go to the beach and it's undeniable. And I definitely agree with people just being simple people, very welcoming, and just sharing things and just having a good time. You definitely see the shift in just mentality and how people go about their life. For us, it's Canadian time. For people, it's Mexican time. They take that time. You go to Walmart, you're not going to do checkout in 5 minutes because, they're going to change the cash register right in front of you, and she's going to count every single bill. And then they're just chit-chatting at the same time. And nobody's really in a rush anywhere. You go to the government building and it just, whatever, it takes time. But at the same time, if you need things get done in Mexico, you can get it done in Mexico. And the way I see it, you got to pay somebody anyway. I'd rather pay these people because they're good people. They just want to feed their own family. I don't want to give this money to the corrupt government that sends the money to war to honor the Nazi criminals. And it's just like where to begin with this whole debacle. And then people still going to say Mexico is a third world country. Look at Canada. Canada is the biggest joke right now in the whole world. Canada is the biggest joke. They pump these things every day now between India and now the Nazi criminal.
Oh yeah. Hold on.
Yeah,
Hold on.
yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
Vlad, look closely at this slide I put out today on social media. There we go. I invited a Nazi to parliament because I love Nazis and pedos. It's Putin's fault.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I legalized bestiality. What a friggin' idiot this guy is.
I just don't understand what people are waiting for. I mean, it's just like I was talking with a few people, and you know, the article that came out in MSM stating that over 11,000 people died in Ontario alone because we could not get health care because of the government mandates for the COVID scam, right? Over 11,000 people. Like how the parliament buildings are not surrounded by at least one family member of each of those people. That's like 11,000. That's basic math. Where are those people? Are they okay with their relatives being murdered by these criminals? And they're gonna tell me how, you know, Mexico is not safe? My children are safer here than they are in Toronto, Vancouver. Everybody understands that at this point, and everyone's just okay and go about their life. No,
Mark, you got a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, Vlad, they're doing it because you got to think about it at home. You left Russia to go to Canada, right? So for you and like ourselves, we're not scared.
No.
Right? Like you have one chance in life, man. If you don't take the chance and take that chance and run with it,
yeah.
A lot of people stay. I have friends back at home that are so extremely wealthy, and I'm like, why don't you guys pick up and leave? Wow, my family, or I go to this restaurant, I meet my friends.
No, but especially if you have young children, and I do.
Exactly.
For me, like that's the most important thing. The experiences that Ava, my daughter, 2-year-old daughter, is having right now, living the best life. Like my daughter gets to live the best life. Rosa, who just turned 6 months old, she's already also in the ocean. Like she's just having the best life.
Congrats, man.
And unfortunately, because of mother of my son is not here with me, and he's not living his best life. And I had to go to jail one time, and then not in Canada, so I don't go to jail again, to ensure that my son is with me, and I get him to experience the best life that I can provide for him. This is what's being denied. And that's happening in Canada. And I'm not the only person. Like the stories that I get to hear from these fathers, who these women just like completely embroidered by the government's measures. They feel completely free to do whatever they want with no punishment of any kind, and just roll over man. And it is the ultimate weakness of man is if he's a true man, children are truly the most important thing to him. Right, and if you take that away, you take away man's heart, and then who is a man without a heart? A true man.
Like you said, look, you were in the kitchen, like the kitchen there. You're busting and all that. I was laughing because I thought for sure you're going to say you're in the back cooking the food, and they're like, "Wow, this is the best food I've ever eaten." That's the Indian
I know,
food,
right? No, they actually, the restaurant is great. They brought 3 chefs from Mumbai, and I have a hospitality experience. Like I've done that for like 15 years in Toronto primarily. So it was just and you don't even need to speak Spanish because we had people Spanish server, but most people come into Indian restaurant, they're either tourists or they understand, right?
Yeah. So
it was a great experience, and now I'm actually working on something cool, and that's why when Ed suggested for me to come on the show today, I'm like, might as well, because I've been wanting to do a live stream, but just not busy with kids and schedule, whatever. So this is a great opportunity. So now that I'm here in Mexico, I'm actually going to be opening a very first, and it will be a first because I already envision an expansion all around where it's needed. I'm creating a hub for strong fathers, to ensure that the strong fathers that we do have, they are supported and empowered to continue, and we provide them whatever support needs for them to be successful in everything. And at the same time, I want to provide an environment that we can cultivate men who wants to be great fathers and strong fathers. Because if there's one thing that was very evident missing in what took place, especially in the last 3.5 years, but it's kind of started about 5 years ago with all the gender and all that other horrendous things that's been going on with kids, right? It's we didn't have enough strong fathers, right? So I realized what's the biggest missing part, and I'm personally committing my life work for the next 40 years to ensure that changes. And if we have enough men, and it has to be men, led by men, women, of course, can be there and support. And we love the women that understand that it's without a man, the society fails. Like that's just the end of it, right? And we're pretty much there, especially in places like Canada and England and Australia, right?
Yeah,
United States, you have
Vlad,
United States.
You're
Yeah,
correct.
sorry.
The Commonwealth nations, the white Commonwealth nations, are failing miserably. Australia, New Zealand, Canada, England, all failing because it's white police and white politicians telling white people that you cannot be critical of all of the bad people that we're bringing in, and you can't say it because they're not white and we're all multicultural. It's a horrendous thing. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And I find that after talking to you, Vlad, and others about Mexico and other places, is that places like Costa Rica, Mexico, El Salvador, they have national pride, and they think that we are a bunch of idiots, and and they're not wrong.
Yeah.
Hey, Vlad, you'll agree with me on this, Kev. When you're in a country like Mexico, you're in a country like where I am in Costa Rica, you have to adapt to the culture in the country you're in. They don't say, open the doors up and say, hey, you're coming in here, we'll celebrate, your culture, we'll give days to you. No. When it's Sunday here, it's a Catholic day, everybody's at the beach, everyone's partying, everyone's with their families.
Yeah.
And they won't change for you. Like when I first got here, I'm like, do I say Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, season greetings? So I went to one guy and I'm like, season greetings. He's like, what the hell are you saying to me? He's like, it's Merry Christmas. I'm like,
exactly.
Yeah, Merry
Exactly.
Christmas.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Right?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And there are some people that been living here in this part of Mexico where I'm at, for multiple of years, and they still don't speak Spanish. For me, I mean, this is probably one of the most tremendous opportunities that I'm giving myself and my family and my kids. Like my daughter Ava, so she's 2, Sarah, who's Persian, so my daughter speaks Farsi. She speaks Russian because I speak Russian with her. And obviously she has English because she lived in Canada for the last almost 2 years, and now she's going to be in Mexico. She's going to have a fluent Spanish in the next 6 months, pretty much. So before 4 years old, this one child already speaks 4 languages, right? And that can only happen if you actually adapt to the culture and you understand the tremendous significance of having that diversity in your life. I mean, it's just good all way. Like, I don't see any negatives, but people don't understand the importance of that, I guess.
Exactly.
No, they don't. Okay, so the commentary then, Vlad, that I've got really is that it's a dangerous place to be in the Commonwealth. And the countries specifically are United Kingdom, Canada, New Zealand, Australia. Now, the Commonwealth tends to leave India alone, let them do their own thing. But it doesn't change the fact that there's still British influence there. And anything to do with the British crown is one that is complete oppression of its own people. So, Mark, you essentially escaped communist Canada to establish yourself in Costa Rica, and you're doing incredibly well. Vlad, you escaped communist Canada, probably with a warrant over your head, to live a better life. And you two gentlemen look incredibly happy, in comparison to the average Canadian, right? So,
Kev, you know what's funny?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. You know what's funny is one of the very first people I helped move here, her name is Eve. She was one of the scientists at Guelph University, along with the other gentlemen that they scrutinized and destroyed, that first got the hold of the vaccines and figured out what was in the vaccines. She's the very first person that called me. She got rid of her husband. She got her 95-year-old mom, hopped on a private jet, and she moved here to Costa Rica in a heartbeat like this.
Yeah.
She saw what was coming. She says, Canada, people in Canada don't understand what's coming, what they're doing. I've helped over 400 military move to this area. We said this is basic training of what the military does to break their people down, to make them soldiers.
Yeah.
He goes, is what they're doing to the Canada, not just Canada, the U.S., all the Venezuelans they're shipping right now. I'm not talking hundreds, we're talking thousands. They're shipping them to Texas and Arizona. The males are going into a camp.
Yeah, no, the people that are moving to the States from Canada, I would be very, very concerned and having a plan B and have it available, because they have a strategy for the United States. United States is the ultimate goal. It has to fall for the new world order to implement, right? All the true-blooded Republicans and understanding the concept of Republica and why it was established to begin with, they have to fall first for the ultimate thing to take over, right? So on a condensation of places to live, basically this is kind of my statement. If you have to live within the city, within Canada, I would strongly get out of them and then just go to the smaller city if you have to be. Otherwise, go somewhere rural. But if you have to stay in Canada, go to Alberta. And again, it's not a guarantee, but it's something that, you have more like-minded people who are capable and willing and ready to do if something's necessary. Because at the end of the day, it's about your tribe. It's about people around you. And if you're strategic in ensuring that you do have a circle of people that you can count and you can come together in time when it's needed, that's what you have to do within Canada if that's still what you want to do and you can. Myself, I'm in Mexico. If you actually want to contact me and get some advice, if you want to come here, I can definitely advise you because I understand the whole process now at this point. By the way, I mean, this is my third immigration because I was born and raised in Kazakhstan in 1980. I finished high school in 97 and I went to Cyprus. I lived in Nicosia for 2 years. I went to English college there. And then after that, I came to Toronto as an international student. So I immigrated to Cyprus at 17 till 19. Then I came to Canada from 19 till 43. And now I'm in Mexico. So this is my third. And by the way, my father, my parents separated when I was 11. And my dad is living in the States for a very long time. And he was actually in the process for me to get permanent green card in the States too. I just never completed a process and I kind of let go of that. So I could have even have 4 different immigration at this point. But what I'm getting to is just something that you do if you understand the importance of living life and providing for your children. And for me, especially, like I said earlier, I know for a fact that my childhood was great. And it's my goal to ensure that my children have at least as good as I have a childhood or even better. And right now, my kids, 2 out of 3, get to grow up on a beach. And if I would think what my grandfather, who, by the way, is from orphanage house home in Ukraine, my grandfather on my dad's side, who, by the way, was part of the Red Army that went all the way to Berlin. And he, by the way, in between was wounded, captured, escaped the prison camp, all right, was recovered by a Ukrainian farmer, and then he rejoined the Red Army and went away to Berlin to finish the Nazis. That's my heritage, right? That's what I get to stand and represent. And each of us, to be alive today, you have to understand that your ancestors had to sacrifice so much for you to be here today. And right now, I'm pretty much probably completing an accomplishment for my lineage to ensure that my children get to grow up on the beach, which is probably one of the best places for children to grow up. Isn't that what our ancestors would want it for our children or our grandchildren or whatever, right?
So I'm up here, Moose.
Well, hold on, Ed, wait. I'm going to let the 2 gentlemen answer this question, and then, Ed, you've got the floor. Hesham's asking, are Spanish-speaking countries the best to go to for Canadians? Looks like South America is the go-to place for Canadians. Gentlemen, any thoughts?
Kev, so in the last year, I've helped indirectly 90,000 plus Americans, majority Canadians, move to Costa Rica.
Okay.
With all the resources, I have contacts in all the banks, VPs, some of the presidents of the banks. I got contacts in the government when it comes to immigration. I have contacts even for private jets. When COVID was a main thing and lockdown, I was having private jets land here, land in Mexico, anywhere. I had 2 to 3 jets every week landing in Costa Rica with families loaded on that plane. And the jets I was bringing in, they weren't Canadian jets. They were from Colombia. They were from Dominican. They were UK jets. So the minute you hopped on that airway, that private jet on the runway in Canada, you're no longer in Canadian soil. They couldn't touch you. You're free to go. Other people took private jets that were Canadian jets, and they would actually come on the tarmac and arrest them and kick them off.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you're always looking for a different way. Now, Vlad, with your comment back there, like, is Canada safe? Man, born and raised in Canada. I lived in the Dominican Republic. I was a resident Dominican. Canada's not safe. Just like in BC when they started all the fires and they started turning off all the water. I have so many people I've helped move from BC. And they're trying to get water to put out fires on their own properties. And they shut all the water off everywhere.
Yeah. That crazy, that criminal, that genocidal.
Right. And then all these train derailments and, polluting the earth. Once the earth is deemed non-livable in an area where you live, technically the government can claim it. It's theirs.
No, it's exactly, it's 100% true. It's not it is the fact. They passed that law a while ago.
Exactly. So
and that's why they're doing all of it. And it's the same in the States too. It's not just Canada. They're doing it everywhere.
It is. So where you are in Mexico, where we are in Costa Rica, the reason why people are coming further south to us in Costa Rica is just that Canada and Costa Rica, there's no extradition, there's no treaty.
Yeah, that's true as well.
Right, which helps people out. So when people say, well, with the immigration process, I make it really easy, but when they ask, why do we need to notarize and authenticate our documents? Because you could be John Smith. If you come to Costa Rica, the government in Costa Rica can't verify who you are or where your funds are from. Once you step foot in Costa Rica, Canada can't touch you. You're done. You can do whatever you want. That's why so many politicians, Trudeau himself, the banks have rejected his money now here. Trudeau himself is trying to set himself up in Costa Rica. So when crap hits the fan, he needs a place to go. He wants to come here.
Yeah.
He wants to be in an area that's all full of Islamics and Arabics because they don't care about him, but there's a lot of them that actually do, and they want him, right, to get him gone. But he has to try to set himself up in a place like this where he can't be touched for the crimes that he's committing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. So yeah, to answer your question, Kev, for Canadians, I think somewhere here like Mexico, Costa Rica, or a few other countries, definitely probably great options. You can go a little bit further south, right, to Colombia or Argentina. Argentina is a popular location before, but I think they're going through a very similar socialist takeover too, from my understanding. There's a lot of Argentinians here in Mexico. So the way you, right? So what you want to look at is where people are moving out of. That's a huge sign that things are not well there, because people would not leave something that's going well for them. Don't you agree? And if people want to Google how many Canadians left Canada in the last 2 years, they will be astonished, because it's a record-setting numbers of people fleeing Canada. I had my friends in the protest. Andres, they are from Venezuela, so they fled communist Venezuela to Canada, and then they had to flee. The communist Canada now to Mexico, right? So it's even to that extreme. So it's just nuts.
Okay, here's another point, Kev. And Vlad, you actually like this. So remember, you have places like China who are very influential, right? We have Dubai, we have Russia. Very influential countries around the world that pretty much dominate everything. Their financial status, and people think it's a bad thing, it's fantastic. It's actually held right here in Costa Rica. The roads that are paved are done by China. The police cars are given by the Chinese government. Their financial status is held in Costa Rica. So a place such as where I am right now, all these people, Dubai is invested in all their financial status. They're building 7-star hotels, billion-dollar communities up in the mountains everywhere, right? Russia is now setting up their military army base right in Nicaragua to protect, because we have no army in Costa Rica. They're doing this because all their financial status is held right here. So like in the last year, I've helped over $1 billion worth of people's private financial status be brought into Costa Rica through financial advisors, telling them to move your money to Costa Rica. When CERD came out in Canada, CERD wasn't there to help people out. It was to condition them to get them ready for what's to come. But what it also did is it exposed people's private accounts, offshore accounts in the Cayman, Switzerland, and allowed them access to seize over $4 billion worth of people's private assets in those accounts. So now Costa Rica has been known as the Switzerland of Central Latin America. That's why so many financial advisors are telling their clients, and I've helped clients with over $100, $200 million move their assets in Costa Rica. Move your money somewhere where it's going to be protected and be safe, where you have complete full access. Move it where the big guys are moving their money, because they're not going to lose what they've taken or they've worked for. They're going to keep it.
Do what the rich do, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah, do what the smart do and do what the rich do. Ed, you had a question? Go ahead.
Not a question, statement. My dad told me back in 85, about a year before he passed away, that Canada will be communist in my lifetime. And I laughed at him.
Yeah.
I said, there's no way. And here we are. Like, I can't believe it. There's
Your
more
dad
freedoms.
was so right. Your dad was so right. It's
Yeah.
crazy, man.
Yeah. Well, he came from a communist country, Yugoslavia, former Yugoslavia, right?
Yeah.
That's why he left. He was an economic migrant. He came over here legally.
Yeah.
Work was waiting for him. Never drew on the social system whatsoever, ever. Slept on a park bench for the first 3 nights. Got a job washing dishes, and washed dishes at 2 different locations. Learned the language, and then he finally got into the trades. And raised 3 kids. Did quite well for himself in the 26 years he was in Canada. Did very well. But those opportunities are gone. When he came here, income tax, he was as a licensed steam fitter, which was one of the top trades. Income tax was 11%.
Wow.
There's no HST, there's no GST, there's no sales tax. Could you imagine?
That's well, I mean, that's how it's supposed to be. In fact, like, why do you need to tax regular people? Like, Canada is so rich. Like, how much resources is getting sold all the time, and where's all that money going? Oh, well, we know, it's going to Zelensky for his cocaine. We got it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
As a kid, as a kid, I used to go to the hospital, get X-rays, figure out I've got a broken leg, get cast, and be out of there in less than 2 hours.
Now
2
it's 12
hours. Not 12 hours. Good luck. I heard people for a day.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's nuts. It's nuts.
Dominican Republic is quite good for you guys or not? For expats?
Man, I lived in Bavaro, Punta Cana. It's not a place. When they say the Wild Wild West, people think that Central Latin America and Mexico is scary. Dominican Republic was literally the Wild Wild West. People getting shot up, anything and everyone. When I used to live there in 2007, 2008, everyone I talked to back then, they would always ask me, what are you running from? What charges do you have? The gentleman I worked for, Rico Pester from Remax, he was wanted on 279 accounts. I exposed him dealing money for the Russian mob. He was wanted for prostitution ring, sex trafficking. Like, this guy had a list on him like there's no tomorrow. Our connections we had in the Dominican helped us with that to reveal it. But it's a place I would never go back. It's a place I would never live. And when COVID hit, they locked down hard. Like, they really pushed their people, right? Yeah. Where here, they tried to raise people's taxes 3%. And we're driving from Uvita to San Jose to go to the main city to do some shopping. And it's like a hockey game on the streets. They're throwing like alcohol bombs at the police, the people here. Because here they don't protest with a flag and say, convoy and it's peaceful, this and that. Here they actually fight. And then we're driving through and I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm in my truck with my wife. Oh my God, I'm going to get bombed with the bomb. It's like they stop. They see that you're an expat. They stop. Everybody stops their ways. And then you look back and they continue. And then a few hours later, it's done. The people won.
No more taxes. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, gentlemen, guys.
The only other country I would consider, and just didn't happen, but El Salvador looks like a very, very cool place. They have a young president who's not friends with United States government, which is always a good sign. So it basically from the capital of this part of the world became one of the safest places to be now, apparently. So if people do want to explore something that's not really talked a lot or lived a lot, I think El Salvador probably would be another place I would like to visit.
I've been researching El Salvador. I'm going to make some comments on that shortly. I just got a couple of questions here in the room. From the Rumble room, Gary's asking, what kind of meat is consumed and or sold in the areas that you're talking? Mark, let's go with you. Southwest Costa Rica. Go ahead.
We have Black Angus. We have Indian. We have Wagyu meat. Wagyu. So I'll give you an example. I go to the butcher and I get filet mignon 10 ounce wrapped in bacon, Black Angus, grass fed. Nothing's fed with antibiotics here. And I'll pick up 15 of them for $100 US. Right? A tomahawk steak here is $20 for a Black Angus tomahawk steak.
Amazing.
I think I'm going to order some meat from Costa Rica because Mexican prices are not that good, bro. Trust me. So when you were talking about pricing, man, it's like here it's pretty much Toronto prices almost for food. But I'm in a tourist, probably one of the most tourist places, right? So I can understand that. So yeah, for food cost, yeah, it's not much cheaper than for us in Canada. I would say personally.
Okay.
Gas is
Mark,
actually
I didn't-
more, isn't it?
Yeah, you were here, so you know. How
Yeah,
much
gas is more money
Yeah.
in Mexico than it is in Canada.
Yeah.
And gas is cheaper here.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Okay. So fish, Mark. I also want to ask fish.
Oh my
People are
God.
asking, is it abundant there?
In abundance, so we'll go to the fish market every morning. I'll grab like a 15-pound snapper for about $10. All fillet done. It's an abundance. Like I posted up on my Instagram page. Went grocery shopping. 10 bags of fruits and vegetables: watermelons, papayas, mangoes, broccoli, strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, apples. 10 big full bags for $70.
Okay, I'm gonna look into shipping food from Costa Rica to Mexico. I'm not joking, man. I'm not
Maybe
joking.
I'll smuggle food into Mexico for you.
Right?
It's
Actually, at
It's an
Costco,
abundance down here. It's an
at
abundance.
Costco, in Mexico, at Costco, blueberries are more expensive down in Mexico.
Yes,
they are in
yes,
Canada.
yes.
And these
I
are
haven't had
American
berries here. I'm like, I was looking forward to eating Mexican berries in Mexico, but I have to go back to Canada to eat them in the quantities that I do. I love raspberries, and I'm like, I haven't had any. So disappointing.
So
Oh,
I was
that's
on
a
the beach it was a year ago. I was on the beach in Manuel Antonio. It was during a holiday, and there's a farmer from San Jose, and the strawberries were the size of my wrist, my fist.
Oh my god.
So I'm just walking down the beach. I'm smelling the meat that they're cooking. I'm thinking, this is fantastic. The guy's like, come on over, eat. I'm like, I don't know you. He's, don't worry, here, have some meat. I'm eating some meat. I'm eating some fish. Then he pulls out this big bushel of strawberries. So I start eating it, and it's like the size of a grapefruit. I'm eating this thing. I'm like, oh my God. He's like, we have a farm in San Jose. He goes, thousands and thousands of greenhouses of just the strawberries. So he gives my wife and I a big bushel of them. He goes, try them for you and your friends there. Enjoy it. He goes, if you guys want to come have drinks, come party. Have drinks with us.
Questions here, guys. We got to get some of the questions. John's asking how the weed is in Costa Rica.
Okay, we have our blockchain weed, which is like $70, $80. It will stone you. Then we have our Kush, which is about 190 to 250 an ounce. So if I roll up a joint, I take 2 puffs of it. I'm flat on my ass. I got a whole freezer full of brownies that one of my guys made me with brownies because I like to take the edibles. And I have 2 grams of brownie weed mixed into it with mushrooms. It was $250. One brownie takes me 4 days to eat, and the brownie's about this big. I took a whole brownie. I was stoned for 24 hours. I'm like,
Holy crap. Yeah, and I can't handle any of that stuff. All right. Another question here. Is there any work for Canadians in Costa Rica?
there is. You know what it is? I've got friends that came down here, the roofers. Every single roof in Costa Rica, and it's probably like Mexico, it's made out of metal. So you got these rubber little steel gaskets on the roof, on the screws. Mm-hmm. You have to re-silicone them once every 2 years, okay? Labor, general labor down here is $2 to $3 an hour. So if you get 2 guys to go up on a roof with about $50 silicone, you can charge $1,300 to $1,500 for that roof. They finish it in 2 days. You pay them their $300 with the material. The rest is your profit. I got a kid that I met 2.5 years ago. He started selling popsicles on the beach. Came here, and the only reason why he did this is I was sitting on the back of my truck and I wanted popsicles because I had a few drinks and a few other things. And I'm like, I want popsicles. So I went to the store. I got a whole cooler full of fake Haagen-Dazs. I sat on my truck. I started eating them. Family came over and said, "Are they for sale?" I'm like, "Yeah, $6 a piece." Okay, I sold out in them 40 minutes. It was like $850 profit. So I gave this kid this idea. He's got 10 guys working in the north part of the country.
Nice.
He made enough money to drive a $90,000 Ford Raptor pickup, and he bought his parents a condo.
Oh, beautiful, man. That's great to hear.
Speaking of money, Twyla's asking, what kind of dough do you need to get down to Costa Rica? And then Vlad, what kind of dough to get to Mexico?
Vlad, you go first, man.
So if you just want to rent, 2-bedroom apartment, you can rent here, probably, in a good condition, in a good part of the area, even close to the beach, probably for 1,500 Canadian dollars. You'll have to pay electricity and maybe internet and stuff like that. So under $2,000, you can definitely have a very good 2-bedroom apartment here, 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Food costs, like I said earlier, comparable to Toronto. Like I know all my spots. Like I have my favorite burrito place, Cali Grill, next to Yorkdale, so I can have a burrito for under $20 there. But here, it's gonna be over $20 for something like that. So it's So anyway, food cost is definitely comparable. But if you want to buy something property-wise, also compare to Canada, which is nuts. You can have your money go very far here.
Costa Rica, if you're looking to rent, depending on the area you're in, if you're in Lake Arnau or you want to go to the volcano, if you go to the north part of the country, places like that where it's not dominantly expats in there, you can rent places, $1,000, $1,400, including all your electricity and everything. If you come to the area where we are, you're going to start getting into that 2,000 range US and up, plus your bills. Electrical, $300 a month if you're running everything. Water, $10 a month. Internet, $75 a month. But the cost of food is a lot cheaper compared to home. Where can you go? Like if we go out for 4 people and we drink, and Sebas, who's a master cuisine chef from Toronto, moved here and opened up a restaurant. So if we go 4 people, we drink appetizers. I'll usually eat like a 10-pound fish on my own, snapper on my own, desserts, some more shots. And for 4 of us, it would have run you for a high-end dinner here about $70 to $100 a person for a high-end, all that food, high-end.
That's amazing.
On the low end, you can have the same meal if you go to San Isidro, a little further out, or you go to the Happy Lobster. You can get a massive lobster with all your vegetables and drinks, and you're looking at about $15, $20.
That's nuts.
Wow.
I'm definitely gonna do some Uber Eats from Costa Rica. Let's go.
I got to
How
address
about
a couple
healthcare
of things.
though?
Healthcare, phenomenal. So any pre-conditions that you have in Costa Rica, existing conditions from back at home, once you become part of the CAHA, which is the Universal Basic Healthcare in Costa Rica, all conditions are covered. There's no charges. Anything you want. I just went 2 weeks ago to have my nose all cauterized inside. And at home, I'd wait a year. Here, I had my visit, which was $60. I had my procedure, which was $800 with one of the top specialists in all of Costa Rica. 2 follow-up visits, and everything was done within office, which they used to put me to sleep at home. And I'd be a 3-week recovery. Here, it was a 1-week recovery. I was in and out. And the doctor replied to me at 3:30 in the morning when I said I had trouble breathing. He picked up his phone and starts messaging me, do this, 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 and this. So they don't blow you off. They give you their personal cell numbers to help you.
All right.
Rod, how about Mexico? Have you had any experience with the healthcare there?
Rosa actually was born here. So my third child, my youngest daughter, she actually was born in Mexico. And we basically used the home birth center. So, which means we had birth attendants, doulas. By the way, guys, you don't understand how totally effed up Canada is. So a midwife, a traditional midwife, who's not indoctrinated by the criminal, genocidal, psychopathic, just criminals. She can't even call herself a midwife anymore because she's not, if you're not part of that cult, right? You're going to be fined $10,000 and then you're going to be prosecuted, right? So it's traditional birth attendant now. This is how language has to be adjusted, right? So anyway, that's what I learned when Ava was born in Vancouver, because we had a traditional birth attendant, not a midwife has been doing it for 2-3 decades, right? But then with Rosa, we came here and then she was born here in March. And we did look at the hospital that has a partnership with that birthing center, and just in case if something, but we never had to go and stuff like that. So that was my interaction with the healthcare system. But from what I hear, it's very good. You'll have to pay, but you'll get treated well and you'll get services done right away. The doctors comes to your house. So the doctor comes to your house. Remember the days when the doctors come to your house? It exists in Mexico. Right.
Costa Rica too, man.
Right.
Gentlemen, I just got to address a couple things in the chat room here. First off, Deborah, I'm not sure what you're referring to there. If you could just clarify what that means, go ahead.
What she's talking about, Kev, I get this all the time. I have a lot of females that come here, older ladies themselves, and they're always saying, well, what's it like if I were to live myself in Costa Rica as a safe? So when you connect with me, I've got different expat groups on WhatsApp. Everything here runs off WhatsApp. There are no addresses in Costa Rica. It's a location drop, or it's an area that you familiarize yourself with. So I have a lot of single ladies that live here, but I put you in an expat group. So you become part of a colony of friends and family. People you can rely on.
A community.
Exactly, which is important, right?
Yeah, very important.
So it's safe. It's
safe for women, single women, to go there. Yeah.
What's crazy in Costa Rica? What's crazy in Costa Rica, and you have to get used to it right away, is you see a lot of people hitchhiking, and you see these girls in like bikinis with the surfboards, and they're on the road and they're just hitchhiking like this. And you're like, why are you doing that? You're gonna get kidnapped. Something's gonna happen to you. It's so common here, and people just stop and pick them up, drive them where they want, and drop them off.
Again, like in the good old days.
Exactly.
Things like that existed, and again, that's the ultimate goal for me coming here, is to ensure that my children can have a simple childhood like I had, and they cannot have this in Canada. And it breaks my heart for all the children that have to go through whatever they have to go through being in Canada, and then being for the way the Canada is. And the reason why it is because we don't have enough strong men, strong fathers who are willing to stand up. Is like, no, enough is enough. We're not taking on of this shit. Like, how much more abuse will you allow on your children? That's the ultimate question. Any man, look in the freaking mirror. If you're a father, ask yourself a question. How much more abuse will you allow happen to your own children? They are your children. They are your seed. Like, my mission right now is to empower men to understand that actually they are the most important parent in a child's life, because it's your seed that gave that life first. Yes, women are essential and crucial and everything that they provide, and it's incredible, but it was men first, right? It's a father first. And if you don't take full responsibility for your children, this is what happens. You allowed that abuse. So shame on you if you haven't done anything to this point and you continue being the useless piece of crap that you are.
The best part is not even that. It's all the people that wear the uniforms and they comply.
Oh, forget about that.
That
scam. That's
scam. Think about
just
this.
The garbage. They are garbage humans.
Wait.
Yeah.
Mark, go ahead. Mark,
they take their uniform off and they go home. Meanwhile, it's happening to their family when their family goes out. The wife goes out, the kids go out. It's happening. And they think, no, we're untouchable. The government's not going to do that.
They're going to go first. They go first.
Well, look at
this is what they don't understand.
The Canadian government just said how many military were given the vaccine and actually got a reaction or died from it.
Between 5,000 and 6,000.
That's like the majority of the military for Canada.
Nuts. That's totally crazy. Totally crazy.
Yes, for sure. Got some more questions here.
Yes.
Twyla's asking if she's allowed to bring her pets with her to Costa Rica.
Okay, so again, all they got to do is mention you. Connect with me. I will show you step by step what you need to do for your pets, where to get their documents done, what shots they need. From start to finish, I will help you with everything. You can call me 24/7. You can text message me, WhatsApp me, Instagram me. I will help you. No charge. Every step you need, how to move your money, how to bring your pets, how to reinstate and invest your income, how to get your pension in Costa Rica, what steps you need to get here, I will assist you with it.
Wonderful. I got to switch sides with you here.
Yeah.
Everybody who wants to get a hold of Mark can go to this website right here, use the contact page, or even on the homepage, I've got forms, contact forms pretty much all over the website. Go here, put Costa Rica in the subject line. If you want to talk to Vlad down there, then type Mexico in the subject line. Ask your questions, and I'm going to hook you up with Mark. We're not going to give out Mark's phone number here because I don't want Mark getting inundated by left-wing, unemployed, unemployable, loser, Black Lives Matter, anti-terrorist types who have nothing but estrogen in their body. And that is why you wimps at Antifa, even when it's 46 of you against me, you can't win. Yeah, we don't need you guys calling Mark or Vlad. You suck. You got no money. You're stuck in Canada. Good for you.
Guys,
yes.
Sorry, I got to bring this point up. when you said the locals were protesting against the cops or against the tax hikes, culturally, this is huge, guys. This is huge. The people are going to stand up for what they know is right. Whereas here in Canada, we've lost that.
So the new president that came into play in Costa Rica, okay, so he banned climate change here. He said anything to do with COVID is illegal. They are now, starting November 23rd, they're in court because the people have spoken, and they're removing the vaccines out of Costa Rica. They deemed them illegal.
Oh, that's amazing. That's incredible.
Not just that. Shit, what did I say? Excuse my language, sorry. What he's also doing too is, oh my God, I lost my train of thought.
Vaccines illegal.
The vaccines are illegal, but what else did he do? Oh, so what he did is when he came into play, he fired everybody in the government from the last president. He doesn't have to honor what the president last did. He fired everybody in party, brought everybody brand new in.
That's amazing.
And then he also said anybody that got injured by the vaccine can directly go after the doctors in Costa Rica or whoever facilitated it. So the doctors in Costa Rica, they actually fled Costa Rica.
That's
when they say they're going to go after them, they're not going to go to court and file this and that.
No. Yeah,
we're in the jungle. This is the jungle. This is the Amazon, right? The rainforest. Like you got crocodiles, you have leopards, you have cheetahs, jaguars. The people go missing, right? And again, with their kids here, like this whole transgender stuff with the kids, that doesn't exist here. They do not believe in it. If you're a girl, you're a girl. If you're a boy, you're a boy.
Yeah, because that's how it is.
Exactly, right? It goes back to the
everything else is a mental illness.
Yeah. Yep. And Costa Ricans, people think Costa Ricans are poor. When you go to San Jose, we have like Hollywood Boulevard, Lambo dealerships, this and that. It's high end.
Okay, Mark, you sold me on Costa Rica. I'm already in Mexico. Okay, so if you need any more promotion, we should talk offline. Okay.
I'll help you. 100%.
Right,
100%.
Let's go.
Okay, again, for those who are asking about how to get a hold of Mark, we're going to protect Mark's phone number from the left-wing retards out there. And I love that word retard. And I'm going to use the word retard, whether you like it or not, you left-wing retards. But if you're not a retard and you want to actually move to Mexico and or Costa Rica, go to my site, kevinjjohnston.me, put the word either Costa Rica or Mexico in the subject line. I will then direct you to these two. These two fine gentlemen privately. It's all going to be done privately.
And on that note, I actually definitely can, and thank you for setting this up, Kevin. I can definitely assist people in relocating here if they wanted to come to Mexico. I'm pretty much now went through the process myself. I'm actually already have an appointment to get my social insurance number here for Mexico on October 6th. So I'm moving straight through as much as I can. I already looked at the building that I'm going to be renting, and then I'm going to be setting up that training facility for strong men already here, so they can come, they can stay for 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever, stay, and then they can work on themselves and become a stronger man that we do need in Canada. So all Canadians, if you want to be a part of that, let me know. And it's the time to really step into whatever is powerful within you, right? And understand that you are a powerful being, and time is now for you to use it to the max, in my opinion.
Well, Vlad, perfectly said. There's a lot of men out there they've lost their masculinity, but they want to be masculine again.
Yes.
The problem is Canada shoots them down in flames
100%
continuously. And I mean, look at me and look at you. Being arrested, being jailed, having court injunctions on us, bail conditions that make zero sense, and so on. They do not want masculinity to be prevalent anywhere in the country. And that is why the advice that I would give to any young man under 30 is get the hell out of here. Talk to Mark, talk to Vlad, and find a way to build a life where you can actually have something for your efforts.
This is what I think is going to happen. Just very quickly, just to kind of continue and finish on that point, Kevin. Like, I think this is what's has to happen at this point. The strong men within Canada, they can obviously group into certain areas and then just build on, continue building and growing those communities. But I encourage other people to do something like that too, is to set up a facilities outside of Canada, then men can come and train to be a stronger man and then mastermind together and bring resources together. And my goal, for example, here is I'm starting businesses in Mexico, and I'm going to continue funding They want to talk about, international funding for the uprising in Canada. I'll create businesses that are going to dedicate at least 25% of profit into the freedom movement in Canada. This is what I'm doing. So anyone that want to partner up with me to open up businesses that are going to dedicate profits, revenue to fund the uprising in Canada, I'm making a statement. Let's go.
That's amazing.
Yeah, for sure. All right. And yes, everyone, I'm serious. I'll come over here on this side again. Yes, you contact me here and I will put you in touch with Mark and Vlad. Now, Vlad, your point is an incredible one. There's a couple of groups that tried to get this to happen here in Alberta. And guess what happened? The police raided their land. So when men decide to get together and behave like men, it could be something simple like just target shooting, archery, having a beer and having a chat. What the hell are the cops doing coming out to people's places? And here's another example. You all remember Pat King.
Yeah.
I went out to his fundraiser a couple weekends ago. You saw me get run over by a bull. The RCMP just walked onto the land and they stood there in their costumes, intimidating people. And I was wondering, why is the owner of this land, one of our Olympians, not telling these guys to get off the land? If you want to stand and intimidate, go down to the public road. So the RCMP in Alberta, they're pretty psychotic. They just go wherever they want. They do what they want. They walk into people's houses. They walk into people's barns. They take whatever they like. So men cannot be men here because the non-men with guns and body armor and worse radios to call more men with body armor are always in our way. It's not
but you gotta think so too, Kev, is like, in Connecticut, they're now using drones. They've been using them for a while.
Yes.
So they got drones flying over top. They just designed a new drone that can, from 50, 60 feet away, take your body temperatures, zoom up to see if you're sneezing and coughing.
Yeah.
New York is trying to bring back pandemic areas, and they're trying to overrule and get the rights that they can come into your house and take you, your kids away and put you in a facility against your free will. So that's the direction they're heading in towards, right? And we know what happens in the UK and what happens in the US.
Mark, I think you probably didn't know for some reason, or maybe anyway. There's actually a documentary, Canadian documentary that's called An Outbreak, that stars Dr. Tam from 11 years ago, where she openly says, I repeat, like the number one person that's leading this whole scam, pandemic, from medical establishment, had a documentary 11 years ago. That was 2020. So I guess, 13, whatever years ago, where she openly said that she's okay with taking people out of their houses because they look sick. And if you're not, and we made a mistake, it's okay. It's something that we'll have to do if we have to do.
And that
was done.
COVID thing. Yeah, but that's what this whole COVID, think about it. COVID actually came out, the virus came out in the early 70s. It's been around forever, right? India just went into lockdown, okay, because of the new variant that's out. They actually locked India down. The UK is going into lockdown soon.
Yeah,
right?
no, again, they have to continue. But the point that I wanted to make, Kevin, what you mentioned earlier about Alberta, and I already mentioned that if there's one province in Canada, everyone has to move now. And now, I mean now, is Alberta. And if you don't know, I mentioned this on a few live streams. I was looking into moving to Alberta before being forced to move here to Mexico. I went to Alberta like 4 or 5 different times in 6 months trying to figure out. I even brought the car and then a few belongings that we had in Vancouver. So I'm just trying to say this to people that even myself, I was looking into Alberta to move. So you have to, and then as soon as possible, man, and I repeat, man, need to organize and create Alberta police. There has to be an Alberta police, and it has to
here's
be
the problem with it.
People-led.
Here's the problem with it. What's one thing in Canada that everybody has? You have an address, right? You're paying your taxes to an address. So I was trying to find one of my builders down here, a really respected individual in Costa Rica. He only lived 2 kilometers away from me. It took me 3 weeks to track him down in a 2-kilometer radius to find this guy. Standing outside his shops, his buildings, to find him. Because we don't have addresses. But in Canada, if you have an address, the cops are easy. Where does this person live? Where's the complaint coming from? What are they doing? Type it in, location, drive right there. I don't think anywhere in Canada you're going to be safe. because they can come and take you. I got my buddy got his chickens, his sheep in Burlington, Ontario. He had his chickens, his sheep, his farm taken away from him.
Yeah.
Because
That's
it's too
coming.
much carbon
That's coming.
footprint.
Yeah.
I have dairy farmers that moved to Costa Rica because they want to put butt plugs in the cows, so when they fart, they could turn it to CO2 to air. And the dairy farmers said, "Screw this! We're up. We're out of here. We're moving," because they said you have to pay to have this done. Every cow gives off so much emissions that it's polluting the air. Meanwhile, Trudeau's jet is more emissions than what a whole block of people's cars.
Yeah, no, it's all a scam, but it's just
Exactly.
they're just justification to get rid of animal protein, because animal protein fuels muscles and makes men strong.
And
right?
now they're
Again,
vaccinating all the meat. They're vaccinating all the meat.
well,
They're
of course,
vaccinating all the animals.
the exposure comes in multiple ways. It comes from the air, it comes from the water, it comes from the food, it comes from medical establishment, right? But again, it's just something that we have to keep going. And on the conversation of the police, of course, but that's where the community, where the tribe comes into place. You know how back in the day, or maybe even now in parts of America, the police doesn't even go there, because they're not going to be safe. Police not going to be safe going to specific neighborhoods in the United States. What do you think? You cannot have it in Canada? If your family is threatened by the criminal, psychopathic, government, you have to protect your community. So you have to organize. Again, just organize.
My friends thought we were nuts when I had my basement full of food. I had, so not guns, I had crossbows, I had paintball guns, and I had the bullets sitting outside so they're frozen. So if somebody were to come on the property, I would shoot them with a paintball that was frozen, which is just as deadly as a bullet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
People are like, "Oh, you're nuts."
I played paintball in the cold once. It's
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right?
I got to address a couple quick things here in the Rumble room now. All right. Again, White Zoshiti is, I will be presenting, I'll be dealing with the information here for these two gentlemen. If you want to get a hold of them, get a hold of me at kevinjjohnston.me. Look at the top of the site. You'll see that right now. Ashwagandha 123. I'm not ignoring you. It's just that I'm addressing questions. You're making a lot of statements. I appreciate the statements, but this is a question night. If you have a question, please throw it in the room and I will address it. And yes, everybody, mass depopulation is happening. I also wanted to point out that Zelensky for the Ukraine, Vlad, I think you know a bit more about this guy than most. This guy's a former stand-up comedian who used to wear high heels and lace. He would take his junk, his genitals out, show the audience. He would do stuff to his own genitals facing the audience. And now somehow he is the leader of a country.
But think how crazy this movie freaking is. I've been saying that we're living in the movie life for the longest freaking time. And please, people, if you don't agree with me, please let me know. But if you would go into the cinema and watch a movie that we've been living for the last 3.5 years, I don't know about you, but I would walk out probably in the first 20 minutes, because that's how absurd this whole life is. You literally have a paid actor, a freaking actor, comedian, not even like high-level Shakespeare-trained actor, right? Just, and that's even the point, right? The actor even just a joke, right? And they made him to be this leader for the world, who, they equated, they equaled him to Churchill. Like it's totally bonkers. And then you have Chrystia Freeland, whose grandfather was part of the Ukrainian Nazi propaganda, okay, whose mother, Chrystia Freeland's mother, has been working with Soros from the 70s or 80s, like long time before even anything that's been going on, right? Like, this is so deep, this whole corruption and this just enslavement of humanity, and just getting people to being completely blinded how they've been taken advantage of and just genocidally massacred, and then you've been paying for your enslavement. You're paying for your enslavement and you're paying for your own suffering. This is how nuts this life is, right? You pay taxes, and then you pay taxes when you go shopping, and then you pay taxes on top of those of the person that got paid from you has to pay taxes on that money, right? Like, it's such a scam, and everyone just going with it. Everyone just like, well, that's just how things are, because you let it. you freaking
Well,
let
think
it.
about it. Trudeau, there's an actual video going out around. I'm sure if you guys have seen it or not. He's in high school. And he actually says in high school, I am going to make Canada fall to their knees one day and bow to me. This is high school.
Yeah.
So he's been conditioned. You can actually find it. It's all over the place. So he's been conditioned for this role. And if you notice, Krista Freeland's always right next to him. She's one of the most powerful people in the WEF.
Yes. She's a board member. She's a board fucking member.
Exactly. So Trudeau looks at her for question for answers.
Yes. He's a puppet. He's just such a puppet,
Exactly.
right? We have think about it. We have
I
one
just wanted to
actor
point out-
and then another teacher actor. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I wanted to point out Trudeau. He is a weirdo. I'm not sure. You probably don't know the name Rob Andrews out here, but he's a member of Parliament for federal Parliament for years in Calgary West. I was talking with him and a couple other members of Parliament and former members of Parliament. There was a really big meeting that I was a part of when I was running for mayor of Calgary, and it was no secret that Trudeau, he went to the Aga Khan's Island to get instructions on how to destroy Canada and to be involved in a man-on-man sex orgy, and that's when his woman actually walked away. So it was within 6 to 8 weeks of him taking office that his wife actually walked. You notice how they were never happy around each other. She was in it for the money, and she's dating some black soccer player now. So and has been for quite some time. We're dealing with really weird, sick individuals. Zelensky is a sick pervert.
He
Trudeau
just
is
hired
a
Abramovich. He just hired a woman that cooks people and feeds them to the actors to rebuild schools in Ukraine. Like, how much more bonkers do you need to make this movie? Like, it's totally bonkers. Like, I'm speechless, and people just going about their life.
Well, it's funny. It's even with like at school, at home. Like I haven't been back in 3 years, right? And when you hear about that, they're letting these cross-dressers come into the schools and read books. And and there's a kid that I saw on the video dancing for men, and like a better dancer than even professional dancers. It's an 11-year-old boy dressed like a girl.
Mark, I one of the ladies that was I was talking with her. She's a grandmother helping with Chris Kai mayoral campaign. She said that her grandson, friend, 6-year-old, were discussing butt bleaching.
Well, you know what's funny? I had a lawyer, immigration lawyer from Toronto, reached out to me, and the guidance counselor to the child who was going to one of the most elite schools in all of Toronto, in a certain area of close to Hogs Hollow, the guidance counselor said, well, he said, I want to be a girl. He was 13 years old. So they started giving him the medication, birth control pills, to start changing his gender. He no longer wanted to be a girl anymore. He told the parents. They went to see the doctor. The doctor goes, look, you have to continue down this path now because your thing down there is not going to work properly anymore. They found him the next day. He hung himself in his bedroom.
Yeah,
and he blamed it on his teacher at school.
Of course.
And the parents have to live with this. And then another one, when all COVID was going down, says, whatever you do, another lawyer, I get a lot of calls from people. Another lawyer reached out to me, says he told the teachers, whatever you do not inject my child. You do not do anything. The minute they left the school, they got the nurse in, they injected the children. They said, because when your kid's in school, it's under the guidance and the care of the school.
They're not yours. They're not yours.
Exactly.
Look at this. They organized. You have federal unions organized. You had leaders of political parties marching with pedophiles and extremist, Antifas, right, against the parents of the children. And again, everyone just okay about it. I don't care. Walk into every politician's office, drag them by their hair, and put them in a freaking dumpster. Like, enough people can organize to do that. You don't need to hurt them. You just need to put them in the trash where they belong, because that's who they are.
But it comes down to that. At the end of the day, I'm at the point now, because I've had so many threatening calls. I'm sure, Kev, you have, like, we've all had these, right?
Yeah.
I'm at the point now, I'm done trying to convince people what the life is like here and how different it is when another door opens up. I'm at the point now, I'm here to help people that want to make this move. That's it.
For sure. And I agree with you. And that's why my focus right now is I'm building this strong fathers hub. My focus is to get 50 men to come together in November. I'm going to open it in November. Stay tuned for that. I'm looking for first 50 men to come to Mexico to stay for a month and in the center without a strong man, wake up in the morning, train on the beach, have the best food, have the best life, work on business, create prosperity for yourself and your family, and together we can push forward. And there's no political solution. It's economic solution led by strong men. That's it. And we have
for
enough.
us, man.
We have
down
enough.
here for us, we got baby boomers, but we encourage families to get down here because it's nothing better than seeing a family on, not even on a Sunday. Like they'll put their kids in forestry school here Monday to Thursday, and every Friday you go to the beach and the beach is full of kids surfing, bodyboarding.
Oh, that's beautiful, man. That's beautiful.
Yeah, face
that's how it's
painting,
supposed to
jumping
be.
castles. Exactly. And the parents can be on the beach on a Friday night drinking, and there's like music playing and drums, having drinks. It's like the old days. The kids are running a kilometer down the beach partying with each other. Nobody's worried about where's my kid? What are they doing?
Yeah.
Guys, I just wanted to show you this here.
Yeah.
This number, have a look. This is officially how many people left this country permanently in 2021. Sold their houses, emptied their bank accounts, and split.
Yeah.
Mark, I got a question for you because you're a finance guy.
Yeah.
This is the way my mind works. Is if a Canadian has a really good credit rating in Canada, does that affect their ability to borrow money in Costa Rica, or does the Costa Rican government care about that?
The Costa Rican government doesn't care about that. I do have pull with the banks in Costa Rica to get financing available, mortgages.
Okay, hold on. Wait. Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Let's say there's a Canadian. He's got a credit rating of 760. It's really high.
Okay.
And he was to go to a bank in Canada and say, I would like a loan for $350K unsecured, and he gets it, and then decides to go to Costa Rica and not bother paying it back. Is that going to affect his ability to I know Vlad, you're laughing, but is that going to affect his ability to borrow money in Costa Rica?
No. So you don't understand how many people right now with the way the economy is going with selling your house back at home, they're pulling lines of credits from their house. They're coming here. They're using that money here to come in as an investor. And they're saying to Canada, here's my keys. Take it. Take my credit. Take everything. Your credit doesn't mean anything in Costa Rica. You're starting scratch. You're starting new. So if you come in as an investor, you're investing, like I have a lot of private lenders that lend out money for people, right? There's nobody who's scrutinizing over top of you saying, oh, you can't start up a business. You can't be selling popsicles. You can't do this. You can't do that. They say, if you can do it and you can make money, make yourself money. Right? They don't care, but a lot of people are doing that. They're pulling their money from Canada because once you're here, they can't touch you. They can't say, we want that money back. All they'll say to you, you can't come back to Canada. And people are like, the hell with it. I'm done with it.
They might. Vlad, go ahead.
Just trust me on this, guys. The government took everything they could from you and then some.
Exactly.
Please do yourself a favor and take what's rightfully yours.
Exactly.
It's your money. Okay?
It's
just
true.
take it and leave and build yourself up and come back and reclaim Canada. That's my plan, at least.
Well, it's an incredible idea in that you spent your entire adult life building credit here, and you've got your house, you can sell it, you got cash, you go get a bank loan as well, you got more cash, you can go start a brand new life in Costa Rica as an investor and make money. I mean, I don't see a reason why you wouldn't want to buy or have a house built that has multiple rooms. You can Airbnb them out all the time, rent them out, whatever, like become a landlord. Obviously that makes money. And I'm looking at just how many rooms are available for rent in Costa Rica. It seems to be a very hot business. Look, everybody, the banks are not being honest with you, and the Canadian dollar, quite frankly, is not going to be around in about 12 to 18 months anyway. We've covered this before. It's going to become a central bank digital currency. That's why they don't want you involved in Bitcoin. That's why I just mentioned the word Bitcoin, and the Securities Commission of Alberta hammers me with letters and threats telling me I can't deal in Bitcoin. Hey, so I call my lawyer and say, what do I do about this? He says, well, you got to answer them, but I got to tell them the truth. Sorry, guys, I got nothing because your loser friends in the courthouses took everything I own anyway. What the hell are you bothering me for? You know, Mark, we covered this earlier, is that there's a friend of mine wanted some help because he knows that I've helped people with bankruptcies before. And he wanted help in just being able to find out why his company wasn't making money, looking for ways to slash expenses. So I was chatting on Kijiji with a couple of people about this. Boom, phone call, Securities Commission. Mr. Johnston, we're aware of the fact that you're trying to help people save money in their business and you're not licensed to do that. You can't do so. We'll fine you. And dude, 3 days after this private conversation, they're contacting me saying, I can't help people save money. Wow. What the hell are we all here for?
Exactly, man. Down here, it's what you make is what you keep. Now, that being said, we do have taxes. If you're in the higher tax bracket, you're 25, 30% is what you'll pay out. But everybody barters down here. Everything's negotiable. The left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing in Costa Rica. So there's ways to manipulate everything. Yes.
Mark, what do you know about Belize?
Belize? So you do know that in Belize, where is it, Brazil or Belize? No, Belize. Close to Colombia. In Belize, they actually passed a law where they were going around, because I've helped a few Canadians that moved to Belize that got here. A little while ago, they were going around and they were injecting everybody. If you were a visitor, an expat, they were going around and putting shots in everyone's arms. I have a lot of friends that go to Colombia right now because it's so cheap to live there. It's cheap to eat there. But when push comes to shove, there's a reason why, I was going to move to Mexico 3 days prior to coming to Costa Rica. I've been coming here, working here for 5, coming here for 10. I've gone to Mexico probably like 80, 100 times. I was just there not too long ago this year to vacation. But it was my contacts told me to come to Costa Rica because we hear the saying safe haven. So I got a lot of people from Belize, Colombia. They're making their way into Costa Rica because there's no army in the way that we're surrounded and we're protected. Those are the reasons. You go where the worst of the worst people invest and hold their wealth into the country. And like a fish, I was talking to Kevin about this earlier. You have a shark and you have the bottom feeder fish underneath the shark that cleans the belly. And those fish never get touched. They go around with the shark. Nobody's ever going to touch it because they're protected. So we're like those bottom fish. We're cleaning the underbelly of the most corrupt of the corrupt. You're going to swim the waters with them in the ocean to protect yourself. And then when things are all nice and calm and over, then, you can adapt and you can become that shark yourself. So with Belize, Colombia, even Panama, there's a lot of people that are trying to make their way into Costa Rica. Right now, we have a lot of Venezuelans that are coming through because the Venezuelan dollar dropped. It's like 26 million Venezuelan dollars to get a Big Mac at McDonald's. So what they did is Trump said, look, all the Venezuelan families, make your way into the U.S., into Texas. The dads are going to come and train for the military. We'll give exemptions to the mothers and the children. We'll give them their green cards, do everything. So there's thousands that are being bussed. The Costa Rican government's bussing them from Panama, getting them out and bringing them right to Nicaragua to get rid of them, right? Just to get them through. And Costa Rica is a place where they can't not close the border and say, no, you can't come through. They'll allow them to come through, and they'll get them through peacefully.
All right. So essentially what I'm hearing, gentlemen, is that the two of you have had enough of Canada. The two of you, honestly, were looking just for not necessarily a peaceful, comfortable life, but one where there's opportunity to grow as a man and as a human being, but also one to not have to endure the far left running everything. It seems to me like the far left runs nothing in Mexico and in Costa Rica, whereas the far left runs everything here. The airports, the courts, the police stations, the education system, the hospitals, every single branch of government is left wing. There's none of that down there, it seems. I mean, am I right or wrong? Go ahead.
No, Mexico has like, I mean, it's. I guess this is what I make a statement, and maybe Mark, you can comment about Costa Rica as you live there. I say it's called the New World Order, not New World Order minus Mexico, right? So it is a New World Order that they're trying to push. So there are agenda flags here on the municipal building. I saw, the cops' car do have rainbow colors on some of them, not all of them, right? And I've seen people in masks. They still have a mask mandate here for the hospitals, and I don't think they ever took it off. So, but you can go to government building without it, and then that's what I need, whatever. But yeah, so that's my comment in terms of Mexico. Mark,
Well, you got to think Mexico on January 10th of last year, or of this year, January 10th, Trudeau, Biden, and the president of Mexico all signed the treaty, an agenda for a one united nation, a one government system. They all signed on together, right? I've got so much documentation, articles I put up on Instagram. I have them saved in my phone for this purpose. Costa Rica, every country is part of the WF. It's just the amount of the involvement that they have with them. So the Costa Rican government that's in right now, the WF hates him. The rest of the countries hate him because he's banning everything. He basically wants to show the people, guys, look, we're here for you. And because he sees how much wealth is coming into the country. So last year, our colonel, the Costa Rican currency, was 670 colones to every $1 US. Right now, it's sitting at 524, which is less, which is crap for us, right, when we're exchanging. But they do it because there's such an influx of American money coming into this country because people are dumping it by the billions into the country. So they have to adjust the rates for the currency. But everybody's flocking this way because Costa Rica is standing out saying you can't touch us. Now, the reasons behind it, like I said, China, Colombia has a big influence here when it comes to certain organizations. We are the gateway. In Canada, the US, cocaine, heroin, all the injection stations and all that, they're legalized. While the government's the biggest drug dealer in the world, where do you think they're getting their drugs from? So they need to have a safe haven that they can carry their stuff through.
Mark, the biggest drug dealer in Canada right now is the province of Ontario. That's literally who is the biggest drug dealer in. Yeah, they're huge. Vlad, question for you here. Mexico City, are there 15-minute cities within Mexico City right now?
I wouldn't know. I am just outside of Cancun. So Mexico City I haven't been at all to Mexico City, so I would not know.
Fair enough. That's definitely fair enough. All right, we're down to our last 4 minutes, gentlemen. I want to remind everybody, if you want to get a hold of Mark or Vlad or Ed, this guy can teach you how to fly a plane and cut a moose in half.
By the way, actually, Kevin, you just reminded me. Thank you for the opportunity. I want to thank Ed because for the short time while I was able to see my son for his birthday, I arranged with Ed to take him on a plane to show how it is to be next to a pilot. So I just want to thank Ed for his whole dedication to the freedom movement, to this country, and to the children. He always there to support everyone with all of his heart. So I just want to express my deep appreciation for Big Ed.
Yeah, and Ed is a big guy. And ladies, not only is he half as good looking as me, which is a very good thing, he's got a plane, he can fly it, he's a hunter, and he's very, very single. So gals, get a piece of this.
And he has a great dog. My daughter loves Bubba, so he has a great dog too.
He's got a great dog too.
Come move down here, Ed.
Yeah, Vlad, I just want to say thanks for being here, pal. Great to see you again. And I can't wait to see the porno movie that you're going to be in with that mustache. It's going to be great.
I'm just blending in. I want to live the most Mexican life. I'm getting a tricycle with a carriage at the front. I'm going to do like a Mexican delivering things. I'm going to put my family into the carriage at the front, and this is my method of transportation. I walk barefoot to the beach from my apartment building that I'm paying less than $1,000. I'm paying for 2-bedroom, 2-bath with a private massive terrace, partially covered. Okay, and I can walk to one of the best beaches in Mexico. I'm blessed and grateful, and I just have to bring my son here, and I'm very happy.
Yeah, and I'm stuck in Alberta by law for another 15 months, so I'm going to endure minus 40 degrees for probably 4 months straight. Isn't that great? Thank you, Alberta government. Greatly appreciate that. Vlad, great to see you, pal. Take care of yourself.
Thank you so much. Good to see you all.
Thanks for coming on.
Nice meeting with you too.
All right, that's
awesome.
Vladislav, everybody, from Hugs Over Masks. He's left Communist Canada. Mark, you're up. Any final statements? Go ahead.
Guys, reach out to Kevin. Reach out to Ed. But reach out to Kevin. If you need anything, I'm here for you 24/7. I'm always available. Every step of the way, if you have any concerns, any doubts, if you need financial status, you need help with something, you need private lenders, even a private jet, whatever it is, just reach out to me. I have all the contacts. If I don't have the contact for something, I will resource it and I'll get it back to you within 24 to 48 hours. But Kevin's the guy to reach out to. Kevin's your man. He'll get this done.
Right here.
Exactly.
All right. I promise you I will put you in touch with Mark. Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for talking with me for the last week. Yeah, it's been incredibly insightful, and you got my gears turning on what I should be considering for my family in the future. So thank you for being here, pal.
We'll be having a beer together.
No, looking forward to it, pal. Take care.
Ed, it's nice meeting you. Cheers, guys.
Yep. We'll see you. Thanks for coming on.
Mark Savoy, everybody. Costa Rica is helping Canadians offload their assets here and have assets there, where they can live where you can live a better life away from this communist, Marxist, left-wing government. Eddie, you didn't say much tonight, but that's okay because I talked too much. Your concluding statement, go right ahead.
Well, we were successful with our moose hunt the second day. And of course, 2 days later, the Ministry of Natural Resources flies in. At least this time, the people were, the conservation officers were pretty cool and quite polite, I might add. But a million questions. They're trying to set us up to see if they can write some tickets, and we do everything by the book. And finally we got the second time we've been audited by these guys for the hunt in the bush in the middle of nowhere. It's just amazing the trouble government employees will go to just trying to write a ticket. This time we got off like nothing. Okay. Everything was legit.
So when you're shooting a moose, but what could go wrong when you're shooting a moose aside from you missing the moose gives you a good knock in the head? Like, what do they want to know?
They want to know exactly where it was shot. They went out to the kill site. They were looking around. They're checking the fridge for fish. We've got catch limits, and we got to abide by them, which we do. Possession limits. And it's just outrageous. Like, the trouble they go to, I understand they got to control poaching, but it's just gone overboard. My cousin's here hunting with me from Europe this week. He could not believe that they were here for an hour and a half asking questions, asking for papers, documentation, licenses. I'm surprised they didn't ask for my mom's maiden name. It's just outrageous. It shouldn't be like that. Well, if you don't think we live in a communist country, he's floored. He was floored by all the BS.
Most people that come to this country are floored when they deal with officers, and I really do hate that term. Look, for you game wardens or whatever you call yourselves out in Ontario, I've talked to a lot of you. Do you know what I've found about you people is that in general, you are nobodies. You're nothing. You have nothing in your lives except that little costume. You give people a difficult time because your life sucks, and your life sucks because of you. Yeah, not because of any other reason. I hate them. I do. I despise. And park rangers. All right. That's the other big thing. I don't know why the province of Ontario put guns on the hips of park rangers. That is absolutely sick. There's a place in Ontario. It's called The Grotto. It's in Tobermory. Have a look at the maps, everybody. That would be like way north of Owen Sound in the province of Ontario. And they had losers in costumes with guns, with binoculars like this, literally like 500-600 meters away, making sure that you didn't jump into the water from the cliff edge. Yeah, that's right. Because they'd come storming down and write you a ticket. You can't jump in the water from the rocks because I'm a park ranger and I say so. It is pathetic. This country is pathetic. If you are a park ranger in the province of Ontario, you are useless. You have no value. Screw you and your whole family. Nobody cares about you. Ed, sorry to get fired up about that, but these guys, they're everywhere in Ontario. And
Kevin, you want to get fired up?
Oh, dude.
I'm
I
gonna
hate
send
those guys.
you.
Huh?
You got you. I'm gonna get you fired up. I'm gonna send you the link. Karima Saeed. She was one of these far left people, lawyer. She's actually switched. She's actually joined the right. She's not a leftist anymore. It's been taking her 2 years watching all the nonsense that's going on through Canada. And she actually teamed up and actually gave help to Jeremy McKenzie. She's published a whole bunch of research with Canada. Load this. Elisa Hadigan. I got to send you this 83 or 85 page hit piece that she wrote. It describes to a T how messed up our politics are and how the cops are tied in to politics and how right in the middle of it, it's your two favorite people, Bernie Farber and Evan Balgord. And the propaganda is so thick. And she did a beautiful job. She's documented everything. She's got it footnoted, the annotations, the links, the hyperlinks. HateGate, guys, people, look it up. HateGate, HateGate.
We are going to cover that in a future show. We'll cover Bernie Farber, Evan Balgord, and all the perverts that work for antihate.ca. We will cover that in a future show. Ed, listen, before we get all fired up talking about game wardens and losers who work for the Ontario government, why don't we call it a night? And you and I'll chat privately in the room here. But I wanted to say to everybody who's watching, this is not a matter of I hate my country and I hate my countrymen. I don't. I hate the politics. I hate the education. I hate everything that runs it. The country itself is beautiful. I live in Alberta. I drive an hour west. I'm in the mountains. We're talking 10, 12, 13,000 foot high pillars of rock. It's very awe-inspiring to see these things. But no matter what we do, there's always some loser in a costume who flashes a badge telling us that we can't live life as happily as we want to. And that's why we're talking or having people talk to you about living in other places where losers with badges don't bother you and the average person's not going to get in your way. Karens, as they call them, don't exist. You're not being yelled at by loser neighbors who are jealous of your house. It's crazy. Canada has fallen very, very hard. And unfortunately, we, the people, let it happen. But there are alternatives. Costa Rica, Mexico appear to be two of those. And we're very proud to talk to you about that tonight. Ed?
Or we could fight. Stand up and fight. Well, do something. How many times I got to say it? Do something.
Yes, do something. But, as Vlad points out, he's got a warrant for his arrest because he wants to give his son a hug. How sick is that? He can't be in the country. That's how bad this country has become. Eddie, one last sentence. Go ahead.
Guys, it's moose hunting season. Go get your moose. Make sure you got tags. Do it legally.
Yeah, do it legally, because otherwise you got to talk to those losers we talked about in costumes who are going to ask you 1,000 questions. Last joke, I guess here. Is it illegal in Ontario to behave like a chimpanzee when these guys show up and throw feces at them? Is that illegal, or would that be assault with a weapon?
I don't know, Kevin.
As I've wanted a chimpanzee, a lot of people that work for the government. I'll tell you that. Thanks for being here, Ed.
Right on, Kevin. See you next week.
Take care. See ya. That's it for now, everybody. Wow. What amazing information we had tonight. And I will continue to talk to Vlad and Mark and get you more information as time goes on. And if anybody does decide to chimpanzee a government agent and you film it, please send me the footage. I think we'll really have a good time watching all of that. My God, this country is just mind-numbingly crazy. Thank you to everybody for the birthday wishes, everyone. I certainly do appreciate that. I really, really do. Thank you for the cakes that were shipped to my mailbox today. I do appreciate that. If you'd like to help us out here, you can go to freedomreport.ca, subscribe, tell everybody about it. That goes directly to my Rumble channel. If you'd like to donate, you can do so up here at kevinjjohnston.me or down here in the corner, email money transfers, freedomreport.ca@gmail.com. Every little bit helps because unlike CBC, the Liberal government does not bribe me to say anything nice about them. Obviously, because I'm not saying anything nice about them. That will do for now, everybody. My name is Kevin J. Johnston. This is the Kevin J. Johnston Show that runs absolutely every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time and 7 p.m. Mountain Time, 6 p.m. on the West Coast. You'll always catch us right here at freedomreport.ca. See you in a week. I love you all. Good night.